treating chronic kidney disease here in Thailand. This is a serious discussion. About 9 months ago, I developed chronic kidney disease. It's also known as CKD. Since about a third of the people in the world will come into this problem, I thought maybe I would discuss some of the things that the kidneys do, why they're important, and how they can get damaged. The kidneys filter out all the blood in your system. They take out the toxins and all the bad stuff in there so that your blood chemistry can do its job. But every once in a while, you can develop some problems. The biggest problem is diabetes. Diabetes can really damage the kidneys. Also high blood pressure, neither of which I had. So that's kind of weird. Some medications can also harm the kidneys, like ibuprofen, the painkillers, and there's some autoimmune diseases that can affect the kidneys. And also you can get damaged kidneys by having an accident. Now here's the problem. Once the kidney is damaged, it cannot repair itself. You're stuck. There are no medications that will improve your kidneys. There are ways to improve your kidneys, but medication is not the way. You can be treated for diabetes and for high blood pressure, which may limit the damage being done. Now, I'm no doctor, so I'm not giving any advice here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to describe what happened to me, just in case, if it's happening to you, that you can take some lessons on what I've been doing to mitigate the situation. Without treatment, CKD can lead to dialysis, maybe a kidney transplant if you're young enough, not me, and possibly death. So it's really important to get to see your doctor. Now I'm going to describe what happened to me and how I learned that I had this problem. I was shopping at the supermarket when all of a sudden I got extremely fatigued. I couldn't take 2 or 3 more steps before I would feel like I was going to faint. I had to sit down and rest for about 20 minutes. I think I also had tachycardia, which is a rapid heartbeat. So I was feeling really miserable, just sitting there and not really being able to do anything. Also, my legs were hurting. One of my thighs had turned numb, and I knew something was not so good right now. Later, I found that I had foamy urine. This is a thing called protourina, and that's a bad sign because it means that the kidneys are not working to filter out the protein in your blood. So you have too much protein, and it also means the other toxins aren't being cleaned out either. So what do? I started Googling. And I found some AIs, ChatGPT and DeepSeek, that I'm not going to recommend, but they helped me a lot. So I did a search on this exact quote. What do I do if I have foamy urine? And all of the advice I got was, get thee to a doctor ASAP. So that's exactly what I did. Luckily, Chiang Mai has a number of world-class medical tourism hospitals, and I live about 20 minutes from the best one in town, and that's the one I usually go to. As an aside, there are a number of people who ask me, where could I live in Thailand? Should I live up country? Should I live out in the countryside? Should I live in the city? My advice has always been live near an emergency room, maybe 15 minutes from one, and from a good hospital with good nurses and good doctors. You should also want to live near shopping centers, supermarkets, and good restaurants. Now, if you live way out in the country, you might be pretty far away from all of these things. So that's your choice. My choice is to be close to the places that are going to help me. So I moseyed on down to the medical tourism hospital here and presented myself to the receptionist and told her what my problem was. Well, I first told her I had some foamy urine, and immediately she knew exactly what I needed. She said, "You need to see a specialist. You need to see a nephrologist or a kidney doctor." And I said, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good." And she said, "Well, our kidney doctor just happens to be in our office right now, so I'm going to send you right over there." 5 minutes later, I was talking to the nephrologist. Now, I've taken a number of notes here because I wanted to make sure I covered everything, didn't forget anything, and allow me to read once in a while from these notes. The first thing I want to do is compare and contrast the services I received here in Thailand with those I might have received if I was back home in America. Now, in America, Medicare would probably take care of most of the cost. Well, now anyway. I'm not sure what the future will bring. But in Thailand, I covered all the costs, and I will break down all the costs to let you know exactly how much I spent here. Now, the first thing that would have happened back in America is I probably would have gone to see my GP, my general practitioner, and he would look at my situation and decide that I would need to see a specialist. In America, getting to see a specialist is not a one-step process. The latest I had was a 3-month wait. And I was afraid that if I was in America and I needed to see a specialist, it would be 3 months before I sat down and talked to them. Here it was 5 minutes. And I was sitting explaining all the situation to my nephrologist. And what she did was she said, "Okay, immediately let's get you a complete blood test. And I'm going to ask to get a ultrasound of your kidneys, liver, and spleen. Kidneys, making sure there is no cancer there. And the spleen sometimes gets enlarged, and that could cause CKD. So that's what I did. I left her office and went and got a blood test, and that took an hour to come back. And while I was waiting, I took the ultrasound, and the ultrasound all turned out negative. No problems with the kidneys, no spleen, and also they checked the arteries to see if there were any blockages. So about 2 hours later, I was back with my kidney specialist. She said, "We're going to have to follow this up because you could be getting worse, you could be getting better." So she gave me some blood pressure medicine because high blood pressure could cause more damage. I didn't have any diabetes, so that was okay. And I would see her in 2 weeks. My blood tests were not so good. It showed that the kidneys were functioning at a very low level. Lots of crap in my bloodstream not being filtered out. No wonder I was feeling terrible. So I had to come back in 2 weeks just to see if there was any progression. The total cost for the day, seeing a specialist, blood tests, ultrasound, and medication, 6,200 baht. My appointment was in 2 weeks, and I got more blood tests. And since I have an enlarged prostate, like most men my age, she wanted to check out to make sure that the urine wasn't being backed up into my bladder, which could also cause damage to the kidneys. So another ultrasound. This time I was sent over to my urologist, a second specialist, and in 5 minutes we sat down and he scheduled an ultrasound for my bladder. Turns out that everything was fine, but just in case, I was given a 24-hour urine test, meaning I collected urine for 24 hours just to see what the volume was and whether I was backing up anything into my bladder. And the urologist cleared me. He said I was fine and there was no problem with the prostate. So for this second day, I saw two specialists. I had an ultrasound and a 24-hour urine test and meds. Cost 9,470 baht, and that was about $279. Another 2 weeks, and I'll be seeing my nephrologist again. 2 weeks later, and some bad news. The blood test showed that I had developed a condition called pancytopenia. This means that all my blood cells, red, white, and platelets, were way below normal. My nephrologist was quite worried, since this might kill me. So I was immediately sent to a hematologist, another specialist. He's a blood doctor. Back in the US, that would have been another many weeks wait. 5 minutes later, he was not too happy and a bit worried. This condition is caused by many things: leukemia, bone marrow disease, and other not so great stuff. I was very anemic, and that's why I had no energy at all. Just walking upstairs was a super chore. The hematologist decided to do some digging. This condition could be caused by a vitamin B12 deficiency or maybe even an autoimmune disease. So we needed to treat this before we treated the CKD. Pretty serious stuff here. So I was put on daily injections of B12 and given steroid prednisone for the autoimmune disease. Total cost for this day: 2 specialists, blood test, 7 B12 injections, and meds. 5,672 baht. 2 weeks later, blood work back, and the blood cells are back to normal. I had a bit of a sleepless night before worrying about this. I'm still a little anemic, which the kidneys control, but more B12 and prednisone pills still trying to rule out the cause of the pancytopenia, but energy levels almost back to normal. I have to mention here that I was also getting advice from lots of YouTube advisors. At their suggestions, I've changed my lifestyle. Since I had completely changed my diet: little meat, no dairy, no Cokes or potato chips, no instant noodles, lots of fruit, no bananas or things with potassium in it, no alcohol, no smoking, and exercise, and control of my blood pressure. I don't eat anything that might put pressure on my kidneys. There are good foods and bad foods, and I advise you to either talk to a dietitian or get as much information as you can from YouTube. I went from stage 4 kidney disease. That's one stage up from stage 5, which would mean dialysis. Now I'm down to stage 3. Stage 3 is still damaged kidneys, but quite livable if you stick with a new diet and lifestyle. My nephrologist thinks maybe the steroids might have helped if the cause of my CKD was an autoimmune disease. It might be. Total for the day: blood test, 2 specialists, weekly B12 injections, and more meds. 6,500 baht, or $192. For the future, I have more checkups in a couple of weeks, but I'm feeling quite good. Today I overdid it. I went to an outdoor market and walked maybe a little too much. I got pretty tired and needed a long nap. I'm okay now. Am I over the hump? No. I still have stage 3 kidney disease, but people can live long lives with stage 3, and I'm going to be really strict with my new lifestyle. I don't like fruit much, so I drink lots of fresh fruit smoothies. I don't like apples. Pineapples and watermelons are great too, so I make applesauce. I make my own vegetable soups and started eating brown rice. And by the way, I've lost 20 pounds. Boy, I really miss Cokes and potato chips. I love a glass of cold milk, but now I make do with almond milk. Not so good, but it's a good replacement. No bananas, they have potassium. Those goodies, along with fast foods, are in my past. I want to thank my Thai doctors and nurses, and the hospital, and all my YouTube advisors and even the AIs that gave me some good advice. For now, I'll end with a quote from one of my favorite movies, Starship Troopers. Come on, you apes, you want to live forever? My retired Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel's son tells me this is a real quote from a real Marine, Dan Daly, at the Battle of Belleau Wood. He said, "Come on, you sons of bitches, you want to live forever?" Well, maybe not forever, but how about a little longer? Wish me luck. Cheers to all. Thanks for watching.